What if everything you thought you knew about Prince Harry's marriage was a calculated illusion? That question hit like a lightning bolt across the Buckingham Palace walls just days ago. And the aftershock? It's still unraveling behind sealed doors, shadowy meetings, and whispered calls made from burner phones by royal aides who never thought they'd live to see this day. What just happened, less than 5 minutes ago, is so explosive, so scandalous, so unthinkable. It has shaken the monarchy to its core. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. The kind of betrayal we're about to uncover doesn't just shatter marriages. It fractures bloodlines. It destabilizes kingdoms. And at the center of it all, a man stripped raw of trust. A prince once obsessed with protecting the woman he loved. And a quiet royal, princess and who finally decided the truth could no longer be buried. Not even by the crown. So let me ask you, what would you do if the person you trusted most turned out to be paid off by the very forces you once vowed to fight against? Because that's what Prince Harry faced just hours before making the most drastic decision of his life, to end his marriage. And no, this isn't some old gossip repackaged with a new spin. This isn't tabloid fluff. This is a meticulously orchestrated royal cover-up, exposed piece by piece. Thanks to one woman who refused to stay silent any longer. Princess Anne. But before we get to what she told Harry, before we examine this Saudi dossier that blew the lid off this entire palace charade, you need to understand what was really happening behind the scenes. Not the story you saw in the papers. The real one. The story only a handful of people knew, until today. It began, ironically, with silence. A cold silence that wrapped itself around Harry's Montecito home like a fog. Meghan had been unusually quiet for days. The kind of quiet that only comes from strategy. And Harry, restless, suspicious, confused, found himself wandering into the study. The place he now refers to as the point of no return. He didn't expect to find the envelope. It was just lying there. No markings. No sender. But something about it felt heavy. Intentionally placed. Inside, a note from his aunt, Princess Anne. 6 words. 6 devastating words. Read this before she destroys you. Attached was a document that's been whispered about in MI6 circles for years. Codename, the Saudi Dossier. Now, here's where it gets disturbing. You've heard rumors before, haven't you? Whispers of Meghan's connections with high-profile elites long before Harry. Mentions of yacht parties in the French Riviera. Photos that appeared briefly online before being scrubbed from existence. Vague statements from insiders who later went mysteriously silent. But no one ever had hard proof. Until now. Because buried in this so-called dossier were photographs, financial transfers, schedules, even names. Powerful names. Names that make people disappear. Names like Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And suddenly, everything made sense. The timing. The marriage. The bizarre speed of it all. The silence from Buckingham Palace. The way the royal family welcomed Meghan, then slowly began to pull away like someone realizing they were sleeping beside a ticking time bomb. But here's the real twist. Princess Anne didn't just stumble upon this file. She's known for years. Yes, you heard that right. The famously tight-lipped, duty-obsessed daughter of Queen Elizabeth had been holding on to this information, watching the charade unfold from the inside. Waiting, calculating, hoping she'd never have to be the one to detonate the bomb. But then came the leak. And suddenly, silence was no longer protection. It was complicity, according to one palisade, who has now gone into hiding and confronted Charles behind closed doors with the evidence. She said, "If you won't tell Harry, I will." And she did. She handed him the file and left, her final words echoing in the marble corridor. The monarchy won't survive another Diana. Not this time. So why does this matter now? Because moments ago, Prince Harry released a personal statement. Not through Archwell, not through PR, but directly, via a press call. He said, "The betrayal I've discovered is beyond comprehension. I have made the decision to divorce Meghan Markle." Simple, direct, devastating. He didn't take questions. He didn't need to. Because the fallout has just begun. And we're about to walk through the entire thing. Step by step. Truth by truth. Lie by lie. From Meghan's earliest ties to elite Middle Eastern circles, to the palace's desperate attempts to contain the damage, to the final straw. The discovery that could strip Meghan of every remaining title and possibly even lead to criminal inquiries. And before you ask, yes, the children are now part of the investigation. We'll get there. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever been lied to so convincingly that you questioned your own sanity? That's where Harry is right now. Because for him, this wasn't just a relationship. This was a war he thought he was fighting with Meghan, not against her. He burned bridges, sacrificed ties, lost family, all in the name of love. But what if that love was funded? What if it was scripted? What if everything, the pregnancy photos, the Oprah interview, the Netflix deal, the tears, the allegations, was part of a carefully calculated plan to place a figure inside the royal family? A figure controlled, not by love, but by leverage? That's the heart of the Saudi dossier. And it's about to make everything you thought you knew completely irrelevant. This story isn't just about Harry and Meghan. It's about the crown. It's about international manipulation. It's about how vulnerable even the most powerful institutions can be when blindsided by beauty, charisma, and ambition wrapped in a $10,000 couture dress and a whisper of victimhood. Because here's the thing. Harry was the perfect mark. Emotionally wounded, isolated, carrying decades of unresolved trauma from the death of his mother. He wasn't just looking for love. He was looking for someone to believe in. And Meghan gave him that. Until she didn't. Until the Saudi payments showed up. Until the photos surfaced. Until and stepped in. Until the bubble popped. But what comes next is even darker. Because once you see who else knew about this, who helped cover it up, you'll realize this wasn't just Meghan's deception. This was a multi-tiered orchestration of silence, wealth, and power. And now? Now the silence is breaking. Aides are leaking. Staff are flipping. Hidden emails are being decrypted. And Harry, haunted, humiliated, and heartbroken, is done protecting anyone but himself. So buckle in. Because in the next chapter, we're going to peel back the first layer of this toxic onion. We'll show you exactly what Princess Anne discovered. The envelope, the files, the moment she decided enough was enough. And most importantly, why she waited until now. Because what came next would change everything. And no one saw it coming. What makes a man leave his home in the dead of night, without telling his soul, not even his wife? Not just any man. A prince. A son of Diana. The once beloved Duke of Sussex, who traded palaces for palm trees and protocol for podcasts. What happened behind those Montecito walls that pushed Harry to slip past security, drive alone to a private airstrip, and vanish into the London fog like a ghost? Let's rewind 48 hours before the press release. Before the headlines. Before the palace spin machine kicked into high gear. Because what happened on that night, what Harry discovered and what he decided, was not just a reaction. It was an explosion. 1 year in the making. And it all started with a whisper. A whisper from the one royal who doesn't whisper anything lightly. Princess Anne. Harry hadn't spoken to her directly in months. Their relationship was cordial, respectful, but distant, and had always kept to her lane. Horses. Duty. No drama. Which is why the message stunned him. It was simple, untraceable. A hand-delivered note via a courier Harry didn't recognize. No palace insignia. No Archwell branding. Just an unmarked envelope left with the gate guard at Montecito, addressed to him in handwriting he hadn't seen since the Queen's funeral. Inside, read this before she destroys you. Harry's heart stuttered. He reread it again. 6 words. No signature. No explanation. But he knew who it was from. And script was unmistakable. Steady. Clinical. Regal. The way she signed Christmas cards. The way she signed declarations of war, metaphorically speaking. And attached to the note, a sealed USB drive. Harry stared at it for what felt like an eternity. Was this another trap? Was someone trying to destabilize him again, like the tabloids had done his entire life? Was it a cruel prank? A planted device from someone with an agenda? But something in his gut. The same gut instinct that had warned him when paparazzi were lurking around corners. The same feeling that had pulsed in his chest the night Diana died, told him to plug it in. And what he saw? It shattered him. But before we get to what was on that drive, let's talk about what he did next. Because his reaction tells you everything. He didn't confront Meghan. He didn't storm out. He didn't even cry. He went still. Prince Harry sat there in that oversized leather chair in his Montecito office. Alone, surrounded by the framed family photos he once believed in, the Netflix deal scripts, the half-written memoir pages, and he went cold. Like someone flicked a switch in his soul. You know that moment? When the final puzzle piece slides into place and the picture is nothing like you hoped. That's what hit Harry. And quietly, with the precision of a man trained in military protocol, he packed a small leather duffel. No entourage, no staff, no announcement. Just a handwritten note left on the kitchen counter that read, "Gone to London. Don't call." He bypassed security, told the guards he was heading to LA for a podcast meeting. Instead, he drove to a private airstrip outside Santa Barbara. A single Gulfstream was waiting, arranged by someone else. Likely Anne. No tail numbers. No chatter. No crew conversations. Just a pilot who nodded silently and opened the cabin door. Once airborne, Harry pulled out the drive again. He needed to see it one more time. To be sure, he opened the folder labeled Dossier M, Yacht Files, Classified. Inside were 5 subfolders. Yacht Manifest 2015 to 2017. Disbursement receipts. Surveillance photos. Handler logs. MBS, direct communications. Each one more damning than the last. First folder. Yacht Manifest. Names. Dates. Locations. High-profile guests. Super yachts off Monaco, Cannes, Abu Dhabi. Meghan's name appeared multiple times under aliases. M. Fox, Rachel M. S. Clark. In between, names of men Harry had only seen in news coverage of arms deals and billion-dollar infrastructure summits. Powerful, untouchable men. Second folder. Disbursement receipts. Wire transfers. Luxury hotel expenses. Untraceable crypto ledgers. Multiple entries with initials MM and the description. Entertainment services, 48 HR booking. The amounts? Sickening. $275,000. $310,000. $500,000. Per weekend. Third folder. Surveillance photos. That's when Harry's breath caught. He clicked through the images like a man on autopilot. Photos of Meghan boarding yachts. Hugging powerful men. Smiling at dinners. Wearing outfits he didn't recognize. At locations she claimed she'd never been. The timestamps? Days before she met Harry at Soho House. So much for coincidence. Fourth folder. Handler logs. Daily entries. Schedules. Pickups. Drop-offs. One line read, "Client prefers privacy. Requests no phone usage. Extremely image conscious." Another? Connection to potential UK political asset. Monitor for future leverage. Fifth folder, he couldn't open. Password protected. But its label said everything. MBS, direct communications. He didn't need to read them. Not yet. He already knew. Because what he was holding wasn't just a scandal file. It was evidence. Evidence that his entire relationship might have been prearranged. A soft power PR move executed on the world's most powerful monarchy. And he the pawn. Harry leaned back, staring into nothing, eyes rimmed with red. Was he angry? Betrayed? Or was he just hollow? Because how do you process the idea that the woman you sacrificed your family for might have been playing you the entire time? That this wasn't a whirlwind romance, but a recruitment? He landed at Farnborough Airport just after midnight UK time. No media, no royal cars, just a black SUV waiting on the tarmac. Inside it, a Palisade with a phone already dialed. "She's waiting," the aide said. "Anne?" Harry asked. The aide nodded. "Buckingham Palace. Service entrance. Through the tunnels." Harry hadn't been here since the Queen's funeral. He walked the long hallways in silence. His boots echoed in the stillness. And there she was, Princess Anne, arms crossed, staring out the window of the green room. No hugs, no pleasantries. "You saw it?" she asked without turning. He nodded. She finally looked at him, eyes hard, but full of something else too. Pity? Regret? Or was it guilt? "You should have been told," she said. "I should have been warned," he replied. Silence. And reached into her coat and pulled out another envelope. "You'll want to read this," she said. "It's from your mother." Harry froze. Diana. A letter? But that's where we're going next. Because the contents of that letter wouldn't just shake Harry, they would make him question everything he ever believed about Meghan and about himself. And what it said next would trigger the exact moment Harry made up his mind to walk away. Forever. Harry reached out with a trembling hand. The envelope was pale cream, aged, slightly yellowed at the corners. Not Buckingham Palace stationery. Not Sandringham or Kensington either. This was something else. He flipped it over. A faint imprint of a butterfly seal remained, Diana's favorite motif, and said nothing as Harry broke the seal. Her eyes never left the window. She didn't want to see his face when he read it.